Hi there! As you know, I am absolutely in love with line and wash flowers, and it does take a little bit of drawing skills to get those flowers on the paper. So here in this video I've compiled 9 easy, quick drawing tips to create beautiful flowers in line and wash. We are just going to start out with tip number 1, and that is using a reference. You can use a real life reference or a photo of a reference, or you can just take photos of the real flowers outside in your garden or in the country. But using a reference will really help you enhance your drawings, and also look how you can vary all the angles if you use a real life reference. You can't do this with a photo, and it's absolutely incredible. I also recommend going outside and actually seeing the flowers in real life, because the lighting changes and you can much more observe the actual flowers. So that was tip number 1, use a real reference. Tip number 2 is thumbnails. If you want to use or create a drawing of a flower, you can utilize thumbnails, and that is small quick sketches where you kind of imagine how this flower will look on the paper. And here you can really try to place it in a way that makes sense to your drawing. And this takes no more than 2 seconds, and you can play around with it, create several sketches, and choose the one that you like the best. Tip number 3 is pencil guides. If you want to sketch, for example, let's say this daisy, you can use a pencil guide. And that is because when you are going in with fine liner first, there's not really much way out of it, because it stays where it stays. So this is a way to kind of create a guide where you can place your petals, and you can even go in and share, give the sketch some data on where your petals are starting, and you can even count them if you want to, but there's not really any reason to do that. But this just makes it so much easier, and don't let this be a hindrance for you. If the sketch doesn't, or the guide doesn't work, then just delete it and try again, or edit it, or whatever. But this is just a help for you to create easier and better drawings. Tip number 3 is, or 4, I think we're at 4 now. Hold your fine liner light and let your hands dance. So I just started here. Hold it light and just let your hand dance across the paper, giving us a nice quick line with lots of life and movement. Tip number 5 is play with sizes. Here in the first sketch I used a 01, which is a nice, for me, I always use this for the first sketch because it's a nice middle ground. Then I switch it up to a smaller one, 005, so half the size, for the lines inside of these petals. And the reason why I do that is to give us some nice variation in the line, so it's not all the same size. So it kind of gives us a hierarchy in the lines, and so just a little bit to play with. You can see how these thinner lines are creating a more subtle detail than the bigger ones. So definitely play with that. And you can also, of course, go up in size. Here's a 0.5, so it's quite a difference. But you can use this for example, darkening some areas that you have in shadow to kind of make it pop a little bit more. And I definitely encourage you to play around with the different sizes and see what works best for you. Tip number 6 is lifting your hand. Instead of just holding your hand down here to draw, try to lift your hand, because that way you can make your hand move and the fine liner move even more smoothly. So try to see if you can actually lift a little bit, creating some movement with your hand here. And if it's not working for you, you can always rest your hand on your pinky to get a little bit more control, so you don't have to sit all the way in here being all tight, but you can still kind of hold it a little bit higher. Tip number 7 is texture, and here I want you to play around creating texture like small dots like that, or small, you can see how there's an imperfection over here. You can create that with a little bit of maybe a small doodle. So this will kind of give us a variation in the surface on these petals, so they're not just smooth, but something you can play around with to create some more interest. Tip number 8 is, if you make a mistake, like this one, for example, this petal here is overlapping this one in a weird way. Instead of throwing it out and creating a new one, just embrace it and see if you can give it a bend or something like that. Something that will enhance the drawing and just be beautiful. And don't take it too serious. We all make mistakes, and often mistakes are the one thing that makes our drawing pop. So don't be scared of it. Embrace it and love it. The final tip is, don't be scared of your eraser. And this is an important one. Just actually using an eraser to remove those lines will really make this beautiful. And you can draw as much as you like, because we have this. This is our friend. So don't be scared of using it. And of course, use it. Don't press too hard, especially if you already painted. If you already painted, make sure it's 100% dry before you go in with your eraser. This is a nice soft one, so it doesn't hurt the paper, and it is my best friend, and also the cats, as you can see. I hope that was 9 good tips for you and you got something out of it or took something away from it. If you want to have more fun with line and wash flowers and wonder what comes first, if it's lines or if it's wash, in this case it was lines, but you can definitely do wash as well, I have a free video for you. I'll put a link for it here below so you can check that out. And in there I kind of show the pros and cons for the different ways of doing line and wash flowers. So grab that, and I will see you in the next video.